everyone, this is Lodrik and this is our game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. And this is a special episode for the beginning of the month. Like for the 1st of February I did this, and for the I think 15th or 16th February I did some special episode or a longer episode. And then now we reach the 1st of March 1942, so I will do again a little more in-depth information status, what happened and what is the future planning, and what is the struggle I just faced so far in the game, and maybe some intel knowledge, what is maybe important to keep in mind if you run this kind of game in the long thinking area. So I show this I think at the end of this turn, but we can now check again. We had end of this turn. Nothing really special. We only killed some of Dojo's Dutch bombers. This was the daily stuff, and this is the amount of so far in the game. So we still rising up the kills for our kills on P40Es. I cannot know compare how many more to the last month, but so far in total the P40 is the main fighter Dojo used to try to stop us, stop the Japanese. And very shortly we have already the Flying Tigers. I think they are also P40. I don't know if they're P40E or B editions, but I think they both are P40. At the end, for sure, they're ally fighters. So we can see the number one killed is a P40 ally fighter, American. He is also an American fighter. The Buffalo is normally also an American fighter. So the first three kills in this game are all Dojo's fighter. Then we have at position number 4. This is I think also American, but they are now I think Dutch or British medium bombers. And at position number 5 we have so now the zeros. And you always can check here the balance between killed air to air and operational losses. We can see clearly that there are still the zeros are balanced killed in air war, and they return to base, but they're simply damaged from the battle, but the pilot can return. I would say most of this ops losses the pilot can return to base. Maybe is wounded, but maybe even he's fine. But the ally fighter pilots, they are simply, if you check the numbers, you can see the percentage level of killed air in air is much higher. And out of this information you can I see it like this, that we really win the air war so far in the air-to-air battle, because we really kill much more. We suffer also losses, but most of our pilots can still return. In the Oscar 1C it is not more so clear to see, so I would say here we can see it is the balance is not more nearly equal. It's more similar to what have Dojo, but not so terrible bad. I mean, Dojo you can see 100 to 25 roughly, and we have here maybe 50 to 30. Anyway, we have here also the Hurricane Trop 2B. The killed on ground, I think this was we sunk the cargo ship, and so we killed 70 of this Trop Hurricanes. Tropical edition, I think, simply only for this more moisture area. So, I mean, I was lucky that we sunk this transport ship with this, because these airplanes are really so far the strongest fighter Dojo can field, and I would really say this airplane with a similar pilot is at least it is equal to a Zero. The Zero is maybe have more range and this can be used on a carrier, but the Hurricane is simply armor and I think also more firepower. No 20mm guns, but the Japanese have no armor, so even with this light machine gun you can damage the Japanese fighter. So anyway, we can still see Dojo fighter, Dojo fighter, Dojo fighter, Dojo bomber, Japanese fighter, Japanese fighter, then Dojo fighter again. This is our Navy bomber. This is still from the beginning of the war. We lost a lot. And then we can still see more and more. Then the numbers get smaller. So this is only update information. You can compare it maybe with the other, with the months before. I don't know if you really can see here much more out of this. You can also see that we have roughly 50% more air activity. You can see here Dojo have around 210,000 sorties, and the Japanese they fly 335,000. So I would simply say 50% more. And the kill ratio is now 1028 to 636, so 10 to 6. It's also okay. I mean, I would say it's okay. The only problem what you cannot see out of this is the killed or lost pilots. So you only really can see the airframe. And if the player strikes, of course he lose more pilots. So if we can check our lost pilot, we have now 255 official killed pilots, 44 wounded so far, and 85 missing. And normally if you defend the base, you don't have normally missing pilots, because most of these missing pilots can return and may be wounded, or they are confirmed killed, but they are not simply missing and you don't know what is the status of the pilot. We can also see that we have here now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, but he's missing 14, 15 aces. But one of our aces is missing. But so long he's missing and not killed, maybe we have a chance that he can return. And we have also, here's the one killed, missing, wounded, killed. But these pilots are, you also don't have not here in the game the option to see what kind of pilots are killed or wounded or missing. It would be nice if you have here some option to say, okay, show me fighter pilots, show me level bomber or scout plane pilots, because I still think that we have, if we go to lost airplanes and then we check for scout planes, here, the key 30N, I think this is a scout plane. Ops losses. Okay, this will be normally mostly return. The Jack. The Jack is for sure is our number 1 scout plane. We lost 17 so far. And you can see this is if you operate your fleets near enemy airfields or bases where it's cap, then they often get intercepted. Air to air or by flag. Okay, but I think this is maybe So first enough for this stuff. And ship lost, I think we can check later better in the tracker software, because so far we this last turn I get the game tell me that we sunk to, I mean it's not really last turn because it's 27th, 28th. Yeah, this is last turn because we are now at 1st of March. Yeah, okay, right. Official, this is last turn. The first day of last turn and the second day of last turn. So we sunk 2 submarines, maybe. And yeah, in the tracker we can check for more detail, but we can also maybe the overall situation of the Japanese so far lost still. This has the 3 transport ships from the beginning of the war, and then I think, yeah, you can see the date, but 9s, 10s, 10s, 8, 9. So this is the most valuable ships. They always sunk immediately at the beginning, or they get hit at the beginning and sunk maybe a little later, but and then 14s, 15s, 16s. And then there's long. This is really the big bunch, the double figure ships all sunk in the first month of the war. And this is our, yeah, the 16th December we lost 1, and this was an unlucky destroyer. Yeah, I think I will always remember this, that this British torpedo hit our destroyer. This was unlucky. But this is all. So you can see we lost 2 destroyers. Out of this all of what we lost so far, I really only care the 3 first ships, because 1 good cargo ship and the 2 troop transports are really good, but yeah, and the 2 destroyers are nice. These are really good destroyers, 2,500 tons, and this destroyer was 2,000 tons. Okay, maybe not crazy, but he had had already the better submarine hunter equipment, so if you upgrade this ship it gets much better. Also the anti-aircraft power, so it's a good destroyer similar to this one. PTD. Okay. Yeah, of course we must check what is the allies lost. So this is the allies lost. We can check this maybe by date. Now we can first check by total. So we have here now official, we sunk 1 fleet carrier. This was in Bombay. No, we must say Bombay. Yeah, near Bombay. The Repulse, a battle cruiser, but no, we can say it's a battleship. It's like Congo. Congo is also a battleship now. So we sunk 1, 2, 3, 4 battleships, 1 fleet carrier, 1 light carrier. So maybe the light carrier is official also. It's also a good. So yeah, it's not that we won something here so far, but to sink 1 British fleet carrier and 1 support light carrier is already a blow for the British carrier fleet, because I don't know, I think they get in total maybe 3 fleet carrier and 2 support carrier, something like this. So at least I think we kill 25% of the British carrier fleet division already. And that we sunk the Repulse and the Sovereign, and I think the Prince of Wales is at least heavy damage, because we make this attack on Ceylon, and I saw in the combat animation that we hit, I think, 6 or 8 hits with the heavy bombs, with the 800 kilo bombs. And each hit will make between 5 to 10%, I think, damage to system and other stuff. So, and we hit the ship before already with the torpedoes. So there's only little pity before we make torpedo damage. Torpedo damage will mainly make flotation damage. And now we hit it with the 800 kilogram horizontal bombs, and this will make more or less, I think, more structure damage, not so much flotation damage. and maybe it was in the dry dock, and I don't know if the game calculates if the ship is in the dry dock, if it can get additional flotation damage. This I really don't know. If you are interested in this, you can maybe ask Dojo to show the situation of the Prince of Wales. I think it was Prince of Wales, yeah. So, but nothing else big happened. This was normally in this February month, I think the big battle. We can check this maybe by months, and then we can see we sunk these 2 submarines, some cargo ship, light cargo ship. Here we had some engagement with some destroyers, and this is the Battle of Bombay. Here we can see we sunk a light cruiser, this battleship, and the carrier. This was of course a nice blow because 400 points plus we kill some cargo ships maybe, so maybe this whole Battle of Bombay cost Dojo maybe up to 500 points, and 1 good fleet carrier and 1 battleship. I don't know if the battleship is so important, but at the end the British have now less backup forces, and it's for me it will be more easy to strike for Ceylon if I really will go for this. It have still a high risk. At least I think at least 2 carrier and maybe 3 battleships for Dojo from the British side, and he can of course send American units to aid the British in the Indian Ocean. So we will see. Okay, this is for, we can check this later, maybe also in the tracker, and the rest we can see the base points. I mean the base numbers is how many bases you have, but maybe more important for the game, for the points, is more the value of the bases. So Dojo still controls 6,800 base points, and I control 4,200 roughly. So there's still a gap, yeah. I mean, North America and India is, I think, a lot of value, but maybe we come close to this and that we balance it out. Maybe this, I think, is possible, that maybe each of us have maybe 5,500, something like this. And so this is this is what we had just before, the points for airplanes. So this is minus points, this is points you have, and this gets deducted from your points, and also army points gets deducted. But then you also have, this is base points you control, but you get also points for units you have still on the map. So the points, how the game calculate all these points is of course not so easy to see out of this. You need better the tracker software. It's explain you a little more why you have points and where you have your points and where you lose your points. I mean, where you lose points you can see here, but you cannot really see where you get your points. And then we can see here the same, like we saw that Dojo lost a lot of ships with a lot of value. We lost not really much, and Dojo lost a lot of army forces, and every arm, the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force for the Japanese are so far successful. It is maybe soon over with these easy victories because the Americans, they have more better equipment. The Dutch forces are nearly at the end. So, and we will not get many easy kills soon. But maybe it's enough to win this war in 43. Good. We can check shortly what units are coming soon. Aircraft replacement, withdraw, reinforcements. So these are now air units are coming for the next 40 days. So for sure, because I checked the American side before, compared to the Americans, this is nothing. If you want to see, I think, what the Americans get in the 40 days, you must scroll down a very long time. And for the Japanese, I only open this page and I can see over 1 month already. And we can see that we get here some scout planes, some Nate fighters, so they are outdated already. And most of them, they're only shells. I showed this before. So this is 1-1, this is for a submarine, I think. You can see here, this is belongs to the submarine. And often you get these big groups with nothing inside, with 2 airplanes, or this is you must fill them up here again. So we get some army fighters, we get some army bomber group, we get more scout planes for cruisers, AVs, and more cruisers. More army fighter. Here's a Zero fighter group, and yeah, nothing really too special. Nothing too special. This is still very standard stuff. Most important, I would say, is this unit here. In 40 days, we get this float patrol unit, and that is really important because this is a 4-engine type of float patrol. It's not this short range, this has a super long range. And you don't have many groups of this, and you also will not get too many reinforcements for this. Let me check. This is a float boat. No, this is a torpedo bomber. Float patrol. No, patrol. This. Yeah. So this is a 4-engine. And this is all what you get in the all of the game. So you only get now this 2 groups, the big group and a small group. This is only a detachment. And then in 43 you get 1 group, in 44 you get again, and then at the beginning of the war. So you really, it's not even possible, even if you want, you cannot really have an unlimited number of this super long range 4-engine Navy patrol units. Normally this is one of the best because normally this type of airplane, if you can have 200-300 of this airplane, they are really very tough. Maybe not this edition K1, but later if you can get the K2, you have a lot of armor, a lot of defense firepower, 2 torpedoes, and they are maybe slow, but they are still very tough. And I would say this is the best torpedo bomber you can get, and the range is crazy with 24. So, but it's not possible. You cannot change your normal 1-engine patrol units to this 4-engine, because this is a patrol aircraft and this is a float plane aircraft. And so the game really separates this, and it's not possible to change this units to a patrol. And so you really get only this little in what you have at the beginning. You can also not add to every big base this long range scout planes. Yeah, only to explain this a little. And yeah, this is really the 40 days we get this additional units. This will help because it simply will make sure that you can control a very big bunch of the open ocean to make sure that there's no surface fleet coming. Not for submarines, but for surface fleet. Okay, and this is the 60 days. And there's also not more much coming. So we get this float plane fighters. But I don't know if it really makes sense. It's this float plane fighter is maybe good enough to fight with other float planes, and maybe for medium bombers, old medium bombers, but they are simply also a little slow and no armor, and I don't know if it really works too. to produce this kind of float plane fighter and add them to your cruisers. Flag will still kill them. Yeah. Okay. So we can see this is nothing really special. Everything what is coming is still outdated stuff, but normally it's not so important what it's only important what type it is. You can say it's a Navy fighter, Navy scout plane, Navy patrol. There is only Navy patrol, but only like this, because they are only shells and you can change them like you want. Okay, Navy done. Ships are coming. Oh, wrong direction. So we get a submarine, we get one of our destroyers. You can also see that I changed some stuff here. I more or less I rush for all destroyers. Because the Japanese say simply you don't get BIM. You have, I would say you have 2 less destroyers. It's not that you have destroyers, but I would normally like to have 20-30 more. So I try my best to. Normally I push for the carriers and I push for the destroyers. And you can see now that I still have Navy base points in backup, and I consume them slowly, but I need normally 1061 merchandise points, and I only produce 807, so I lose every turn 200 points, but I have over 2000 in backup. And also for the Navy shipyard, I normally still have enough. I still buffer more points. I can normally push more ships faster out, but I simply want around 2000 points, and then I will think about what I can push again. Because from the carrier side, I have already this 2 fast. The Shinano I stopped because it makes no sense for me, and the rest is all on normal. Maybe I can push the 44 carriers a little faster. The Tayo is normally a really good carrier. Maybe it makes sense to push this, but if I push the Tayo from 1300, I will immediately go for 1500. This means 10 turns and I must already redo, so I wait a little longer. I can better first finish some more ships and see, because if you finish ships now in the early of the game, often other ships will start working. So you must keep an eye on this sometimes, at least once per month or twice per month. Check here. And the carrier I try to push this 42 carriers, because this I can use. The rest is so far away. And here is still the same. Yamato is on hold to try to catch, to balance this, that they come in the same area. So I don't want rush for the second Yamato battleship, so I simply hold the Yamato and then let them come close to each other, both in December. And the cruisers is, here you can see there is a cruiser coming, but it will not start before other cruiser. So I think if this cruiser, the Agano, is finished, then maybe the start of the Sakawa will start. We will see. I don't know who's. I think this one is waiting for this one. So destroyers are all increased speed, and then you can see if this bunch is finished, then always, if Cure the first, I don't know where's the next one coming. But I will think that but where the ships will be constructed is all fixed by the game. You cannot change this. What I can increase destroyer, I try to get them. I want also this 13 points destroyer, simply because they have so good flag power. Okay. Good, let's finish this because I think not a little boring, but if you want to play the game, you must think about this, and what is possible, what is not possible. I really don't I also speed up this escort carrier simply because I had enough points for my merchant ships, and there's not much more what you can really push, because if it touches and then you see what belongs to this merchant shipyards. So escort carrier, the cruisers is wrong because this is a bug more or less. There's only the scout cruisers belongs to the merchant shipyards, but not the normal cruisers. So you can normally take them out. So what is left is APs, AKs, AOs, tanker, auxiliary. So normally the escort carrier and the auxiliaries may be interesting to check. Because troop transport, if you don't lose much, you don't need them. Cargo the same. AOs, tanker. If you don't lose ships, and I lose nearly nothing, so I don't need more. I have enough. I really have enough. So what I can get is maybe the auxiliary is nothing. So patrol, maybe you can push here, but you can see here is there's not much. It's the first coming later. Now there is nothing. And yeah. And I don't know if you really need this. I push this ship a little because it supports the landing, but I really don't know if it's really so necessary. And that's all. So I don't know what you really can get out of this merchant shipyard if you don't loot. If you don't need cargo, this is normally the main purpose. And if you don't need this, then it's hard to find something. So I would say, of course, the escort carrier, they are useful. And the rest you must find out by yourself. And only because I just remember this, and it's maybe interesting to understand. Shit. Maybe we use later the tracker software better for this. Because I want only explain one thing between this submarine chaser. So they are normally submarine hunters. And for the Japanese there are more types, but there are two important different types. This is a normal CH, and then there's a CHA. And you can normally only must separate between this. It's a CH or a CHA, and the rest is not more really important. This normal CH sub hunter is for deep water possible. You have the type 2 deep hunter stuff equipment. These units can attack in deep water, so they can operate everywhere, I would say. If it's a CHA, this unit will never get the deep water equipment. It's a cheaper edition. You can maybe say the A is for assistant, or I don't know, but it's like a chaser assistant, so it's always a cheaper, more light 100 tons. I mean, what is a ship with 100 tons? You can upgrade this ship. This is already the upgraded edition. They only have two, level 1 and level 2 more or less. This is a level 2 ship. So you can throw a lot of bombs in the water and you can make a lot of damage, but it's only for shallow water. Normally, if you're not lucky, you will not hit with this ship in deep water. So I would say this CHA you best use everywhere where shallow water. So like here's the Yellow Sea, and here around Hong Kong and Taiwan. Here you can patrol, and you can also patrol here all around Singapore and Saigon and Bangkok, and here the Java Sea. This is all nice. You don't need deep water equipment for this normally. So the CHA used for this, and the normal CH you can use for deep water. around the Philippines and everything. So only explain this because I also first not realized this completely. I thought always that they both have their equipment or they will get their equipment, but now I found out, oh no, no, they are the shitty one and the cheap one will still be a cheap and shitty one. Okay, this for the ships, I would say. More I cannot say so much. In the ground units, we can say what is the Japanese lost, because I only can see the Japanese army and navy, and whatever I lost I already repaired and reconstruct. So far I can say everything is fine. We lost nothing. And the units coming. Yeah. This is for. You can see that. This is some navy stuff, support. So fleet support. This is port units, like navy support units. It's normally this units. If you have this navy support stuff. Navy support is help support to load and unload and rearm ships. This is, I would say, is the most important or the simple answer. You have more navy support in your base. Your units you can unload and load ships more quickly, and you can rearm ships more quickly. I don't think it have a much impact for the repair time of a ship. I think that is not the point. I don't read that the navy support helps in repair speed. Yeah, so we get here. This is so this is made with air aviation support, and this port units only make navy stuff. So we get this is all support stuff. You can also see that there's no fighting ability behind this. Or we get here, you can see also engineers, some artillery engineers. This is a HQ. So we get the additional air HQ. This is from the Navy. Because it's flotilla, so it's always Navy, air HQ, artillery. And then we get here additional big bunch of, in 14 days, this Navy Guard units. And you get really many of them. And yeah. I think the main ability is that they are light, they're easy to transport, they don't have much heavy equipment. So they can also land easily or at the beach. Because they don't have heavy equipment, you will not lose much heavy equipment. So if you make a amphibious assault with this unit, you will not suffer much. The only problem is that they also don't, because they have no heavy equipment, they cannot break strong resistance. So they are good for a small island fight if they're only base forces or something like this. And maybe they're also okay for holding a base or island. I mean, you get many of these units, they are more or less, let's say, cheap. They can hold a base for some turns. There are no real heavy units. So if Dojo is coming with a lot of stuff, this unit will not hold the ground for a long time. But it will give the player some reaction time. And you get many of them, so I would say, why not? It's okay. And yeah. It's not really much we can get, and then we get again more Navy Guard units, And these are already 60 days. So the next two, we don't get really heavy stuff more. We get a lot of small support stuff. A lot of engineer stuff because we take so many bases, we must build them, we must maintenance them. And these Navy Guard units, I think, are mainly for also to bring them to the islands and have every island at least one Navy Guard unit to not simply let Dojo take every base easily, that he must battle for every base. And not more. This is all for the Japanese. So you can see it's really there's not much reinforcements coming, not now. And if you get a lot of reinforcements for the Japanese later at 43, yeah, it looks nice. You get a lot of stuff, but the Americans get 3 times more. So it's always the time is against the Japanese. Good. Okay, I think more I don't have here to show first. It's not. The Japanese, they never give any ships back. So every ship we get, we can keep. If not Dojo will sink it, we will keep it to the last day. And the withdrawal for the units is also not really a lot. You can see here that in June we must give 2 units. Then it's already 43, and then it's mid of 44. So this is the Thai units they're giving up. That is so you must normally, if you don't win the 4 at the beginning of or end of 43 or 44 the beginning, then you will lose a lot of your Thai forces, or all your Thai forces will simply stop fighting. And this is all. So you can also see that 50% of the units the Japanese will lose are all Thai forces, or even more. So it's really not important. And for the air forces, this is often that what the Japanese give away. First, it's also not a lot. And many of the units coming back. You give some units away, and 2 weeks later you get the same unit, but with the other group size or with the other type of airplane inside. So this is this maybe explains the situation, because if we go to no, not here. If we go here for the game options, if you choose at the beginning units withdrawals is on or off. If it's off, it's a big booster for the Americans or allies, because the allies, they have a lot of withdraw units they must send to Europe or send back. But the Japanese normally, so if this is on off, for the Japanese there's no big difference. It's really very, very small difference. But for the allies there's a big difference. So have this on is more historical, and secondly, it is it will reduce the fighting forces of the allies. Okay, so we have now here all of the statistics. Okay, because we have statistics, we can also check now the science stuff first. I can say that the engine production, you can see most of the factories are at maximum, only little still ramping up. We can also see that I finished over 500 units for H35, so I get now the 100% tech bonus for every airframe based on this engine. I can better make this for type. So the H60 just get a booster. So original was October, now we are already in July. And so it means we get this engine at least already 2 months earlier than historical, and we've still some time to finish, maybe 1 month, maybe 2 months more. The H32 is still hard to get this on 500. I still upgrade a little more, but I don't want to invest here too much, because it's not really a lot of airplanes use this engine, so I don't want to invest too much resources here. The H33 is coming. The H43 is just R&D. I think there's not much happened so far. I think I finished maybe 1 month. It was original, also October 45, so 1 month earlier. This is a very special engine, but I try at least a little faster. The 34 I normally must get to 500 quickly. I need this engine, similar to the 35, often for bombers. The 35 is here, and the 45 is So This was the engine, so nothing crazy. This is, I think, very similar, but this is a production, better for time. And we can see I stopped the engine production for 0 for some turns because I want to get this 500 engine as quickly as possible. Now normally I can start this production again, but we still have some in the pool, so I think next turn I must start again. If I come under 20 I will start again. Torpedo bombers, I still keep it on 10 because we lose some torpedo bombers, but so far I can still handle the losses. And I don't want to have here too many units in pool. This airplane is simply... It's normally will not survive for a very long time. It's too easy to get killed. So it is not a future. The dive bomber, I have a little more production because we have many... Or the Japanese get many squadrons for dive bombers. So I must fill up many squadrons. So I need a little more dive bombers. And dive bombers simply die also often by killed by flak. The jacks, yeah, I need much more because jacks always dying and there are so many squadrons. Betties, I stop also the production because I have enough pool, and Betty is also similar to the Kate. It's okay. Now is the best time for this airframe, but soon it will be terrible to use them. And the Marvis is also, I can maybe stop now with the production. 33 is enough. I don't lose many of these units, and the K8, K1 or better K2 is coming sooner or later, and I need this unit, not this Marvis H6. H6 is have the same. The range is okay, the attack power is also okay, but no armor and 2 less hit points. The Oscars is a little bad because I lost a lot of Oscars in the Battle of Rangoon, and it's hard for me to keep up the production. But I don't want to invest so much in the 1C. The 1C is really the 1C is not strong enough to really fight with a Hurricane. It can fight with a P40, but the Hurricane is simply too strong. So I keep the 40 in production, and I have here one factory ramping up to 30, and then I will change to A&D. I normally want to get this Oscar, the better Oscar soon. Similar to the Dina. The Dina 2 is, if I reach the 30, I will change this to A&D to get the edition number 3. Yeah. This is the tech. And there you can see I have some factories for the M3. They're ramping up, but normally if they finish the M3 I will go for the next step. Normally the M5 is already okay. The M5C is with armor and more firepower. So many people say that M5, the normal M5 is the best because the M5C is simply slower. You have armor, but you're losing speed. And many say go with the A6 M5 and then completely skip everything and go directly to the A7 M2. The only problem is the gap. There's 2 years gap between this airplane. I don't think that I will see. So I will normally try to get this AM5 as soon as possible, then upgrade all zeros to AM5. Then I try to rush for the C edition, and then I will see. I will upgrade some units and see how it works out. And at the same time, I try to get the A7M2 because there's nothing better. This is the end. And you can here see a lot of stuff is still upgrading. The nail bombers are still waiting. A little unlucky. I hope I can get it in April. We will see. It's maybe possible, but we will see. Uh, I change here a little, and but not too much. I push a lot for this Oscar 2B because the 2B is for me the end of the line. Normally I don't need this A. The 2A is too weak. I will normally skip this completely. So if these factories are finished, I also change to 2B. I only want to produce the 2B. And I hope I can get it already in October. Because this engine is based on the H35, so we get double points now. If we get a successful hit on the R&D, we get not 1%, we get 2%. Simply like this. But we also consume an engine for this. So, yeah, it's not for free. But still, I better pay engines, and engines are more or less in heavy industry points and all this stuff. But I pay these points and I get something more quickly because technology advantage, I think, is in air war the most important. Yeah, and here's the rest. The Helen is coming. So I don't know. I think this is now blue because maybe this is the next month already. We get this. So I don't know more what will happen if we get the R&D now to 100%. If we get immediately the airplane, or if we still must wait to the end of the month. I don't know why it's purple blue now. Maybe we will see. And the Helen still also, I must change this later. Normally I don't want the production of this. But I must get all these factories to 30, and then I will change all of this normally to the next level. Oops. The Helen 2A. Yeah, 2A. Because the 2A have armor protection. And the A1 have no armor, and this is still too easy to get killed. Okay, maybe not so fast, but so this is the rest. I have here some. I changed a little here and there, but not much. Okay, this is the R&D stuff, and then this is, I think, enough for this. So what is the situation? Maybe I can start with the Manchukuo. I just what I realized is you get, after some time you get this additional air HQ, this 4th air division. This is the Army Air HQ, and it have simply aviation support, but yeah, there's not many air units linked to this unit, so I don't know if you really can use it so much. But what I did is more or less, I have here, I bring all my airplanes, or it's like just on the way more or less, or in progress. I use only Harbin and Mukden now for air bases in Manchukuo. And because simply both airports have a 6, so they can carry a lot of airplanes, up to 300. And then I focus my aviation support here. I just move everything here, so next turn it will arrive here. And then it's more easy to control and maintenances. And I think it's more easy to handle. Before I had here 4 airplanes, 4 bases with airplanes, and now I say, oh no, I better focus for 2. It's only more from the logistic point, from how many clicks I must do and how many bases I must check. And I also realize it's maybe better to bring all army units to these 2 bases, so that you have everything in these 2 bases. You have, of course, a lot of this like base requirements, so you must keep some units somewhere. It's not that you can take everything out. Most of the spaces, they have always a requirement, so I only have a unit to finish this requirement, like here. Oh. Normally you can bring something smaller, but it doesn't matter, because you still must keep the big requirements, 8,000. So here it's not so important to really optimize everything. Here you can say 20, 50, 100, doesn't matter. Because most important is to keep the 8000. But on the other hand, I won't keep the big units in these bases. Because there's still many units, these are already done. But you have also a lot of these shiny units. And I think they can recover faster if they are in a big base. Then you have a lot of supplies. You can say, okay, here's always over 10,000 supplies. So they will recover faster. You get more garrison points. Then you can take more units out of Manchukuo faster, more quickly. So I think there's only positive effects if you bring everything to Harbin and Mukden, to the two big cities, and run it like this way. For China, I think not much happened. It now slows a little down because the biggest problem I have here in the center of China is this 200,000 guys. I cannot make every big strike here in the mountains or in Chengdu so long I have a so strong army in my rear. But it's also not easy for me to walk in the mountains. I normally hope that Dojo will walk into this hex and then I can walk on the street and then I fight him here. Because he must normally be out of supplies or low on supplies. But I don't want to walk into the mountains without, because it needs 10 turns maybe to walk in the mountains without any street support. It's better for me to wait 6 or 7 turns and let him come out. The only question is, what is if he's not coming out? If he not will come out in 10 turns, then I maybe really must go out and hunt him. Then I must maybe go here this street. We will see. And here he running away to the east inside the mountains, and he running desert, and he also running away. So this unit I try to intercept. I walk here and try to get him in this hex, and this unit is too weak that I care. This has a 50,000. This is only 15,000. This unit I don't care. Let him go. He can do nothing. Okay. Here I hope we can break the line, and then I can use my units to walk here up and take all this Mongolia area. Here is I had some scout information here. Far too many units that this unit is a block unit. It's more or less force Dojo to keep a lot of units in this hex. He cannot attack me. I cannot attack him. But if we have to keep a lot of units here, he cannot defend this units here, or it will weaken his defense here. And after we get rid of this, I can normally walk here the highway, and then I crush him with my big army, and then I can take all the cities, and then could try to go to Chengdu. Here in the center, I more or less keep passive because I don't want to enter these heavy battles. Here are nearly these are nearly 200,000. Here are 150,000. Here some backup forces here behind. Here are also a lot of forces. So every city here have over 100,000, 150,000. Even if they are Chinese, 150,000 are still a lot of units. And I simply keep my defense at the minimum and use my power to go around. I let the center keep strong, because if we do this, I don't must fight them. And every unit can be at only at one position at the place or at the map. I only have the problem that there are still 2 units I must clean up. And if I get rid of this, I can bring here additional forces. And then I can normally bring the second big punch from the south side. Then I can more or less go this way up and come at the same time from the north and find and take Chongqing. Because the main point is normally better take Chongqing before May, or too many reinforcements units will always plop up out of this. This is every unit you kill After 3 months, it will recreate in Chongqing with 25% power. So if you can get rid of Chongqing, then you will stop this reinforcement rule. So far I know. I don't think that some other city will take this. It is only Chongqing. I think this is a hard written rule. Okay. What is here to say? The 25th Army is on the way, I would say. More I cannot say. We are moving here. It's only a normal road, nothing special, so we are a little slow. We must pass these mountains. And I don't expect that we really get stopped. Even if we have 50,000 units, this is compared to Singapore simply less. And if we take it, it will be nice. Because it's 1,200 points for the Allies. So it's a must-have to take this. And the air battle is okay, but nothing crazy good. But soon we will get the airfield to level 6. And if we have a level 6, then I can operate already 300 airplanes. And I think at that point, it's similar. If the airport is ready, we are maybe source of Rangoon. And then we will see if Dojo will start some bomb, or if we try to intercept my units. Then we have here this active air war. And if he's not coming out, then I will maybe use more fighters to simply... Then I can really bring all my fighters out. And also a lot of my bomber forces. Then it's maybe time to attack the airfield. We will see 2-3 more turns and then we have here more activity. So far it was just so. Nothing crazy. Yeah, my cruisers. These are the heroes of the Indian Oceans. They battle with these very powerful ally forces, and they survive, and they hurt the enemy. I mean, they hurt Dojo, and we repair them. And now they need to go to Singapore. I bring them first to Georgetown because I had here some British submarines or Dutch submarines, and I want first make sure that there are no submarines. I don't want to repair the ship, and then in the last moment I get a torpedo here. So I will have here some cleanup operation to make sure that there's no submarines, because this is shallow water. It's even for the Japanese possible to make sure that there's nothing, no submarine more working. And yeah. The second carrier fleet is just in refitting, I would say. You can see they're all here. Some are in maintenance. Also the battleships, so a little damage here, a little damage there. Air groups must need some airplanes. You can see that I must fit up some stuff. Also pilots. I had to change or bring new pilots because we lost some pilots and so on and so on. But this needs 1 or 2 turns, and then I can make ready for the next attack on Ceylon. Because maybe the question is, I was not sure if I maybe use a carrier for a short operation here to support the attack. But at the end I choose to send simply some land-based Zero fighters here. I have aviation support on the way. I simply forgot to load an aviation support unit at the beginning. This was a mistake, of course. Now I have here fighters without aviation support. But normally next turn they arrive. So this will simply, you cannot repair damaged units. It's of course a little stupid, but let's hope that nothing, that Dojo not will get a critical hit. 1 or 2 turns the units can still operate with this. And I bring here every turn more and more units, so the whole the 15th army will soon arrive here. Oops, I think that's the wrong one. This one. Oh. 15th army. Oh yeah. It's broken in so many pieces. So we don't have here too many. These are all broken units. Now I must refit them. But I think it's enough to attack Palembang. I don't expect here too much resistance. Even less than in Rangoon. And at the same time I bring the two armies, the 14th and the 16th army, turn by turn. I ship here all my stuff to Java, and if we have most of the units or all of the units, I can start to crash the two bases. Batavia and Surabaya are normally the bases you must take, and I sent already some Navy Guard units out to scout, simply to take the base if there's no resistance. Because if we can take this base already with our Navy Guard units, then I can maybe use the train to transport my units. Or if we even can take the base here, then maybe I can rail directly here and then save some time. We will see. But the focus is really bring both armies here, crash Java. Latest and end of March, I need the control of Sumatra, I need the control of Java. And at the same time I try to pick up here all of the Celebes and Timor and this small, but here's not much. This is really land there, take the base and over. I don't know, I think there's one base, maybe this 2-3 bases are here with some base forces. The rest are completely empty normally. Yeah. I repair everything what is possible to repair. Miri needs still a lot of supplies. But you can see in 80 or little 90 days, so in 3 months we have here also the maximum production. And Singapore is the shipyard is at least at 50% capacity. I must also bring some more heavy units here to the source of Philippines. I have here now only 2 block forces. They are not strong enough to fight with the Americans here. These are simply too many. I don't want to attack this, but every unit is in use. I have nearly nothing left. Everything what I use here to land at the bases are very small. They have no attack value, or very small attack value. They will not help me. So I normally need something with power. And the only thing what is with power is this unit. But this unit is still little damage. I won't give it maybe 2 more or 3 more turns that we have a back. If we come close to 400 attack value, then it's a whole division. This unit I can bring here normally, because this is not part of the 14th or 16th army. This is the Southern Free Army. They belonging directly to the headquarters. So this is my idea. Wait a little longer, because here are the supplies. Here is easy to rest. Then bring it here, crash these forces, and then we also control the Philippines. This operation must be over in end of March. End of March, all Philippines must be ours. So everything end of March must be controlled. Also normally end of March we must control Rangoon. That then we have, let's say, April for additional strikes, because if we finish with the Philippines and all Indochina and Indonesia and Rangoon, this is what the Japanese normally finish around beginning of May. And if I can finish with this at beginning of April, then I have 1 additional month. It's maybe not the super fast steamroller gameplay from my side, but I simply balance risk and success. I don't want risk everything to be the most successful one. I want simply be successful, but not risk too much. Yeah, the biggest the biggest slowdown for me was normally this operation on Port Moresby. But I think I maybe read something wrong. I expected here 4,000 units, but in reality it was like 15,000, and I simply have come with 2 less units. 4 Navy Guard units are simply too weak to attack 15,000 allied units. Even if they are starving, I use now a lot of bombardment, and I think I will do one more bombardment because I slowly I can reduce the attack value of these units, and out of this attack value I can roughly say, okay, now it's time to attack or not. It's jungle, so it's not easy to attack, but I must try. If I know it is so hard, I would maybe bring some. Then I would maybe bring this Japanese division or damage division, or at least I would break this division and bring 1 or 2 units of this here. But now it's too late. Before I can load these units and bring them to Rabul, this needs 1 or 2 weeks, and I won't not wait so long more. I won't take the base normally in latest 1 week. I won't have Port Moresby. So I prepare here again the carrier going out again for making airstrikes, and I bring now all battleships together to have one final strong attack, soften up everything, and then I try. And yeah, if it's not working, then I really must bring reinforcements here. I also was able to organize some ships that I can bring my Navy Guard units from these 2 islands and take Tulagi, and I also go for shortlands. But there is nothing. I scout already. It's an empty base. So take these 2 bases and then build them up. And I also prepare some these 3 submarines. They're going to these 3 locations to scout if there's Navy activity, and if there's nothing, then I will use normally some scout plane from Tulagi maybe to get additional information, and if there's so far nothing, or depending how much is here, then we will normally, this is my next operation, take these 3 bases. Of course, if you take these 3 bases, this will have some reaction of Dojo. Because they are simply between Fiji and Nomaya. Nomaya Nadi is here, Suva, so he controls normally the airspace. This will be the first really risky operation. It is so maybe I will install first some I think here you can take this base, because it's in range, it's a range of 9, so 0 fighters can cover this, and from here you have a range of 7. If you have an air base here, you need only air base of 2, 3, maximum 4. So it is easy to build up because there's a nature air base of 5, so up to, you can go easy to a 4, even to a 5. And if Dojo is not too aggressive and it's possible, then you have an air base already in striking range. So always, you need carriers nearby, or you need a land base nearby. This is really important to cover your navy units. Nothing is more crazy if I mean, of course you can create here a navy invasion fleet and go all the way to New Caledonia, make an invasion here. And if Dojo have nothing nearby, yeah, then you can do this. But what happened if you try to attack, and Dojo can use that? Of course, he have scout planes, he will normally find me somewhere at some point, and then he will try to intercept, and then you will have a battle, and then it's up to the situation. And of course, if you are in the defense position and you have enough air force, you have a big advantage. So that is why you need always carriers nearby. But of course the carriers need protection. So, yeah, strategy. What you want risk, what you want do. Okay, so normally this is the situation here in Salomon Islands. Take Port Moresby, build this fast up because we still Rabaul is still not finished, but it's not more far. Port of 7, airfield of 7, and I would say this is first enough. I think airfield 7 is enough. I don't need more, but a port of 7 I need. And then build up this to 1, and I would also install here a base because, or maybe was it here? Maybe here. Here you can build a port more easy. Yeah, I think you can better make it here, but not big difference because they are both unlimited. Yes. Simply here I would make a small airport. Simply only to have here some scout planes with a range of 8. That you cover this area, because this is in the first spot to make sure that nothing can easily sneaks here in. But if you have something here and if you have something here, then you also can close this gap. But I would say to have here a base is not bad. You don't want to have here much, but one squadron of scout planes, why not? It's also too far normally to what kind of B-17s can attack, yeah. But if you have here some 0 fighters, small squadron with 8 or 9 fighters, then it will be already costly to attack. I have here some submarines, but so far they cannot really find much. But and sometimes I get detected, and I must always move. So you can see, if I see here is a detection, then I move the position. If I have no detection, then I wait and hope. See, also some submarines, but so far I don't really find much. It was maybe here, sometimes a little here, sometimes a little there, but not really successful. Here is also a long time I find nothing more, but maybe Dojo go around, I don't know, but so of course he can go around, but I don't know how to. It's not hard. Well, it's impossible for me to find out where he's going around. So I simply keep them and wait. And if they're out of fuel, I will not come here back. I simply say, it's too big area. If I come too close, he will find me with airplanes. If I stay too deep in the ocean, it's too easy for him to avoid. I have here some setups because normally it's possible to go here at the side around, but also not much success. Yeah. Here are 2 ships between the line, and 1 ship is here between Midway and Pearl Harbor. Maybe can hit something, maybe. I also install a base force here in Wake, because I will also add here some scout planes, maybe even the long range patrol boat with 20 range. It's too far for Midway to check, but I can maybe see like this, so if he's coming I get a early detection. And sooner or later I also must install the same with Marcos Islands, because you need here at least something to scout. Okay. What I also did is I use this shitty patrol ships with a short range of 1700 because they are 1-point ships, and I will more or less because Marcos Islands have maybe a range, for the normal scout planes have a range of 8, we'll say this, like here or here. This I can scout, but then you have a really big, if here's your base, then you can also maybe scout up to here. But this means you have this whole display, there's no scout possibility. So I will have here 6 or 8 shitty 1-point ships, maybe in a range of 15 or 16 from Tokyo away, so that I just in range of my Nell bombers, the Nell edition 3 have a range of 21, so I can go up to 20 away from Tokyo. And then I have here every 3 hacks I have 1 patrol ships here. it's simply like in reality, if the Doolittle raid happened, the Americans, they say, okay, we know there's no base, so it's not possible to scout this if you don't have carriers, and they're burning far too much oil to do this. So they try to do this Doolittle raid, they're coming here in this open sea, and then they normally want to attack Tokyo, and then they had the plan to fly to China. And what happened is that also there was something like this shitty, no, not this, but this what I use now is cheap patrol ships. And this carrier fleet simply run in this patrol ship. The patrol ship itself can do nothing. Of course it gets killed. But it can make some information, it gives you feedback, oh, there's something coming. And then Dojo, yeah, what you want to do if your carrier fleet is detected. You still try to make the attack, but then you risk that you get a counter strike or that you get intercepted. And already the possibility to get intercepted will normally often force the player to say, okay, I give up. And then maybe Dojo will lose nothing, but firstly he lost time, and he burned a lot of fuel, and he give up his operation. Or if you say no, he still try to attack, he can do this. But of course, then I try to organize something to counter this strike. That is maybe why it's maybe not bad to have one fleet carrier or two fleet carriers near to Japan for this kind of operation. The question is if it's now. I think now it's them. I don't think. Firstly, Dojo is a more passive player. He's not super aggressive, and I think March. I don't know, Doolittle raid was I think in April or May. So at the end, but I was thinking that it's now time to make this defense, at least to get some early warning and detection. And in range of the land-based torpedo bomber. So this means he attacked me, I get feedback, okay, there's a unit. This is Navy engagement. And then the airstrike is coming next. So, yeah, of course, Nell bombers and carriers is of course not the best. But if you are lucky and if you have skillful pilots, and normally one torpedo is already enough to slow down a carrier. And latest, if a carrier get one torpedo hit, I think the operation will break and must give up and return. And this will give you the chance, okay, a carrier get a torpedo means slow. And then you must try to intercept. How successful this will be, hard to say. Okay, I think this is now really enough for this monthly update. I have not much to say for this. We can now... Yeah, what I can show, what I did is I start to prepare some pilot pool stuff. Pilot, replacement, reserve pool. Reserve. You can see already that there's a lot of pilots now in the backup. And a lot for Army, not for many for Navy. But we can... we have to make a one style first. So these are now all the fighting pilots. And you can see they have all a lot of experience. So the problem is, you cannot see the skills. You only can see the experience now. But I have now a lot of pilots. Not all of them. These are the fresh from the school. And I think, I don't know, some have more. But you can see they don't fly any missions. So they are all from school. But many of them, you can see they have already missions. And some of them even get the kills. But they're all now in the backup pool. Also here a lot of bomber pilots. You can see they all fly in China, many missions. So they have a lot of experience. But I bring this elite pilots all back to the backup pool because they cannot train. These units cannot train more, and I don't have the Helen bombers. I normally won't wait that this pilots use all the Helen bombers because then they can really do something. With this light bombers, they can still punch something, but I better build up some backup force. The patrol pilots, simply, I don't know if I really ever use so many transport pilots, but better have them. And for the Navy, I have simply more Army training units, not so many Navy training units. So I have still a little backup, but not so many so far. And this is much less. The only thing what I have a lot is this patrol pilots for the float plane. They have more, I would say. We will see. So this is all the backup. Okay, then we can check maybe shortly the tracker software. This is just from the turn we had, or this is the day 85 of the war. And in this turn we get the information that we sunk this. Here we can see that a mine layer sunk. This is the tracker software say, and one submarine sunk, but not two submarines. So you can see this is a difference to what's in game and what is tracker software say. Normally the tracker software is more reliable. Okay. So what we can check here is no, not in resources, it's industry. So this is now just a situation here for this cheat. We can still see that we have 2 less crude oil. We still don't produce enough fuel. Nothing really changed. I think the numbers of resources going up. We're producing more resources now. I think we also produce more and more supplies slowly. And I think also more heavy industry points, but I mean per day. But no big change so far. No, I think it was supply fuel. Yeah. Oh, it's not working. Then we must check something else. I think no industry. I always forget if it was resources. Not resources. I thought it was devices. Do we report? Global. Global. But it's not open. No. Okay. So we can still here see the heavy industry points, and the manpower is no problem for the Japanese. So, at least not for me so far. And we have a lot, and we get more. And this is equipment for the infantry. The normal armament is also no problem. The vehicles is always, I think, the one of the biggest issue, but I don't want to invest in this. So far we not really suffer a lot, so I think if I have the time I can still refill everything. So maybe not nice, but it's okay. And the Navy yard points are in balance. I try to keep this 2000, so I get this down, and then I will change something. So 2000 is my ballast point, so it's okay. It's okay. The resources is the resource overall situation. You can see that the resources, the crude iron or what you want to call it, or minerals, is really not the problem. We conquer bases, they produce stuff in China and also somewhere else, so, and it is simply no issue. The fuel we still burn, but we have still, I would say, enough for some more months. And the crude oil situation starts slowly maybe to stabilize. And crude oil will normally, sooner or later, if we have enough crude oil, we also will have enough fuel. The biggest issue is really the supplies running lower and lower, and it's some bases really, Singapore, Shanghai, not Shanghai, but Saigon, Bangkok, also Shanghai a little, and all the mainland Chinese, they still ask for more supplies, but I don't have really much more supplies left in Japan. More or less, most of my backup supplies in Japan are consumed, and many supplies are in the Philippines and now on the way to Java, because I need this for the army operations there. And a big bunch of supplies are also in Rabaul, because I ship a lot of supplies to Rabaul to have it there, because from Rabaul I must organize to these supplies for, firstly I need a lot of supplies to rearm my ships, but I also will need these supplies to ship to the new bases and for install new airfields and ports. And if I have everything in Rabaul now already, then Dojo cannot intercept more so much. I mean, what is safe in Rabaul, I mean, I still must ship it from Rabaul to Shortlands and to Lagi. This is true, but at least for a half year, I think I don't must ship more anything for Rabaul. I have there, I think, nearly 200,000 tons of supplies. This is also a reason, because I burned so many supplies in China with this Air Force. I think 80% of the Chinese Air Force is now in training. I must wait some time, maybe I must wait a whole month, that the supply situation is more stable in China. I also have not more so, I don't benefit more so much from this Chinese bombing campaign, because most of Dojo's forces are already destroyed. And the forces Dojo have in cities, I normally don't must attack, because they have not much efficiency. Okay, so this for this situation, and you can see we are now to 1.8 million supplies, and you start with 3.8. So we already burned half of our supplies nearly in this little short time. We cannot do this more for long. Okay, what else is interesting? Upgrade production, air production, I don't know. I think this is not really so important, and I show it already, so I mean, I only can show this here again, the software is broken again. I think this is not possible. Maybe ship upgrade classes may be interesting. This is the ships I can normally still upgrade, but I not did this so far. So these two destroyers are normally, of course, better to upgrade. And maybe some of these cargo ships you can upgrade, makes sense. But I use them, so the only ships that are not in use are not destroyers. But I need a shipyard, so I must send these destroyers back to Tokyo normally to start this. And then they are 3 weeks out of action. And so far I need the destroyers in Rabul. I can not do this now. And this is a next... Oh, really. Sometimes the software is... This is then for next month, so next month we can see that there's a new destroyer class, can get an upgrade, and also the first of this sub chasers can get an upgrade. And this is important because this is normal sub chasers without an A, and then they're getting this deep water equipment, and then they are really powerful. And in 2 months, not more so much change. More destroyers, of course. Always more destroyers. Okay, victory points. Here you can see the victory points. So we start with 8-1 and now we are 2-1. Then you can also check here, there's all this big bunch of numbers, and then you can get a feeling where you get the points, where you lose the points, and how the game try to calculate it. Here's my political points. You start with 500. You can see where at what point I keep them here, then I buy a whole division. I keep points, and normally I'm ready to buy a whole divisions again. Japanese divisions are roughly around 1,800 points. But I wait a little longer because I have no cargo capacity to really ship this division, and I'm also not so sure where I want to bring the next division, which army needs this division. Because once you add this division to the new army, I cannot change it more, it's far too expensive. So I want to make sure that I do nothing wrong. Yeah, this is victory points, and then you can see how the Allies and the Japanese, how we start. There's a cross-even point, and now I run away and Dojo is stable. Sunk ships. This is, I think, the Battle of Bombay. Maybe, I think, yeah, because we sunk something value. So because these are the points, and this is number of ships. So the number of ships not increased much, but I only don't know why it can drop. Yeah, because we believe something sunk, and then in reality it was not sunk. So I think this is maybe up to this point we believe that the Prince of Wales we sunk already at the beginning of the war. Then we attack Ceylon, and then we realize, oh no, the Prince of Wales is still alive, and this is minus points. Okay, because this is fog of war. We only can make here the Japanese. At the beginning we lost something, and then we lost a little over time, but not really much. And this is the air losses. Like before. The gap is increasing, but the percentage level is, I think, more or less the same. We have always a like 10-6. We not completely kill Dojo double, but 10-6 kill ratio is okay. Good. I believe this is, I think, all what you can get out of this. You can get here more out of this. I also use this but the software is a little broken, and then it's not so easy to use this. And you can see again, everything is broken. Maybe upgrade ships. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if it's really so interesting. And the problem is it's broken. No, it's not working. Not with the surface problem. So I would say this is now enough. I hope this was interesting, and if you want more information, let me know, and I can talk about this next time again. Thank you all. See you. Take care. Bye bye.